It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Welcome back to another episode of Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That, of course, Alan Saunders. Alan, you look beautiful yet again today. Look at it back there. What an amazing backdrop. The shirt color fits very well, too, with the sky. This just great imagery right now. What's going on?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm the worst looking part of this entire ensemble right here. I'm just so happy we got football to talk about, real football,
Yeah.
Smitty. It's been so long. I can actually talk about all the football I saw today.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep. And I know.
I ran into got a shout out from a member of the audience today too. Said he loves the podcast. Drove up from Richmond, Virginia, to be here for.
Did we get a name or a username or anything, or no? Just
I did not get a username, and I don't know if I want to put the name. I didn't ask,
okay.
So
all right.
We'll just. You know who you are. Thank you for coming up. And
hey, if there's somebody that watches or listens to this, assuming they're watching or listening right now, if you want us to give you a shout out for doing so, drop it. We won't throw you out there, but hey, if you want to put a comment in there and say, hey, that was me, that's awesome. But love the fact that happened. Hopefully that happens when I'm able to get out there. We get a little barrage. It would kind of be like I'm expecting to have a walkthrough like Aaron Rodgers did today coming onto the field.
There you go.
My appearance at training.
There you go.
But all jokes aside, we will talk about Aaron Rodgers as we work through here. But the thing that I was looking forward to the most, Alan, today, and why I want to start with this, Jaylen Ramsey. I was curious as to because of like them being coy about it just 24 hours ago. Well, it's like, okay, well, you got to go on the field and show us where he's going to play or what the plan is today anyway. And what was it? Within like 5 plays, he had played 3 different spots. So we know what this is going to look like. But what did you see with your own eyes from Jalen Ramsey today and the usage of him?
Oh man, I got a great story. So I'm over on field 2 over here, and watching the DBs practice. And they start their practice all in one group. They're doing drills, and I actually want to talk about a drill and how they were doing drills too. But we'll talk about Ramsey's position first. So they do all these several series of drills where they're all in one big group. All the DBs are together, and then Gerald Alexander, the DBs coach, says, "Okay, corners and slots over there, safeties over here with me." And he goes and jogs off the field. And you see the big huddle of gold jerseys kind of start to separate, and Jalen Ramsey just walked right down the middle. He's just walking forward, not going to either, kind of waiting. And then finally, at the very last second, he was like, all right, I'm a safety. But he drug it out till the very last possible second to say. And look, it's day one. Who knows where he'll be? If that's you could rotate back and forth, that kind of thing. But when they broke into positions today, he was a safety. When he went out there for the first reps in base defense, he was a free safety, and then he moved down to slot corner with Juan Thornhill coming in as the 5th defensive back in the nickel. He also did play a little bit of, I guess you could call it outside, but basically, like when the Steelers went 12 personnel on offense, the Steelers defense stayed in nickel, and Jalen Ramsey just went with a tight end. So if Pat Freiermuth was on the outside of the formation, the Steelers ran a lot with Freiermuth and DK Metcalf on the same side, with Freiermuth outside of Metcalf at times. Okay, then Ramsey was going outside with Freiermuth and leaving Metcalf to Joey Porter Jr. on the inside. I also think it's amusing that you have Ramsey and Freiermuth on one side, who are like basically the same size, and then you have Darnell Washington and Calvin Austin on the other side. It's very amusing visual of the lineups. You have this like perfectly balanced formation, except for that. But so Ramsey was all over the place today. Played inside, played outside, played safety. Just as Mike Tomlin promised, someone, I think it was Brian Batko of the Post-Gazette, asked Mike Tomlin, should we read too much into where Jalen Ramsey played in day one? And Tomlin said, you're going to anyway, so you may as well go right ahead. But he did say, like, hey, get your cameras ready. He's going to be in a lot more places than you saw today. So I expect to see Jalen Ramsey play all 3 of those positions, free safety, nickel, and slot. a good bit this season. I also expect him to be on the field almost every play, along with Slay, along with Porter, and those guys are going to be out there all the time. So that's
my favorite thing about that with Batco and Tomlin is like I could tell you before that exchange happened how that was going to go, like word for word, basically what Tomlin's response to that would have been. But I know that you said something in regards to Jalen Ramsey as well, and including Darius Slay about a drill, something that you thought was interesting.
Yeah, so they're doing those drills all together as a group of DBs, and I get over there, and I was a little bit late for the first rep. I didn't get the first rep, and usually the star players go first. Like I was late to get the first rep of the defensive line. I missed TJ Watt, so I was late. I was like, God, I'm gonna have to wait for the whole drill to turn over to get. And then I realized that Ramsey and Slay were at the back of the line. They were after the guys who you all have never heard of, Cameron McCutcheon and Kyler McMichael and Dante Kent and Quindell Johnson. And the last group then came Slay and Ramsey. And first I thought that was actually the drill turning over, but no, they were doing the same drill everybody else did. Ramsey was at the end of the line so that he could watch everyone do the drill. He hasn't been practicing with the Steelers, so he could watch everyone do the drill, and then he would be able to do it. I just thought that was really interesting. I'm not sure I've ever seen a vet come in and be like, no, let me go last so I can watch y'all do it, and then I'll show you how I do it. I thought it was really interesting. It was kind of cool to watch those two guys, especially a couple of serious veterans in this league who have a lot of miles on them. They've been doing this for a long time. Be at the end of the line. Like it's just a very amusing training camp visual. But I think a cool, like Jalen Ramsey is super focused on technique. I think that's the thing I've learned about him through one day. He was out here working on the jugs machine for a long time after practice. It just seems like, certain guys are really good at being NFL players, but they're just very gifted natural athletes who kind of take it as it comes to them and are able to deal with that. It seems like Jalen Ramsey is a person that really enjoys working at the craft. That was my big takeaway from watching him on day one.
I was going to ask, there could be two sides to this, like how quickly you think he moves up and could end up being like at the front of that drill, but also on the other side of that, is he so like specific with his routine that he's like, nope, I want to stay in this exact same spot.
I could totally see either of those situations playing out. I don't know. Could very well go to the front of the line tomorrow now that he knows what he's doing. Could very also well be like, no, I'm gonna stay right here all training camp. It's my spot now. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
You said you missed TJ Watt the first time around on that. I didn't know it was possible to miss TJ Watt. I mentioned this before a couple days ago on the podcast. Like he said he doesn't, he hasn't lost weight or gained weight or anything like that, but like his upper half just physically looks bigger. And even like the clips that I saw today, him walking down, like he looks like he's jacked. And getting up close and personal with him today, does that statement still stand?
Yes. This guy's a monster. And if there was any question from anyone about TJ not participating in OTAs, not participating in minicamp, and as a result, not showing up here in proper shape, you can just eliminate those thoughts right away because the guy is a freak. He's jacked, and he's like, man, he just makes plays look so easy. He broke up a underneath pass to, I think it was Scotty Miller. I don't remember, but like the play was there, and then all of a sudden it was just gone. It was just gone. Oh, TJ Watt happened. That's all. Watching him go through the drills with the defensive linemen, especially when they're all together, the edges and the tackles together. Like, I have a ton of respect for Cam Hayward. He's one of the best Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. But I watch him and his hands and his footwork, and he's incredible. And then TJ's just like, no, I'm so much better than that. Get out of here. Like it's a marvel to watch. And it was interesting today that Derrick Harmon seemed to be equally as interested as I was in following along TJ Watt. He was right behind him in a lot of the drill lines. And they're the left side of that defensive line, at least in base defense. I think maybe Keanu Benton is going to be the starter in the nickel at first, but at least not base defense. It's Watt Harmon inside from the left edge of the defense. And so without TJ being here in the spring, I thought it was really interesting that Harmon just really gravitated to him today and seemed like he was trying to learn from him and start to develop that chemistry as two guys are going to play next to each other.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was going to bring that aspect of things up. Like we talked about Nick Herbig just being on his hip and being like a sponge, wanting to learn everything from TJ. That makes a lot of sense when you're talking about two guys that play the exact same position. I guess I didn't really consider like how much Derrick Harmon would want to absorb from a guy like TJ Watt and just build that relationship, because they are going to be playing next to each other. So that's not necessarily something that was on my mind prior to you telling me that.
Yeah, and TJ was working after. Practice goes short on these heat acclimatization days. Man, that's a mouthful of a word.
Yeah, I'm not
I
even
think it was
trying to
only
say
about an hour and a half today, but TJ wasn't satisfied with that. He had the whole group of edge rushers over there working extra, and Derrick Harmon went right along with them. Was working on cross chops and hand placement and things like that. So I think there's definitely some relationship building there going on, and just it's the sort of thing that I think as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan you should really appreciate the idea that Derrick Harmon, who could be, I'm not putting this on him yet, but like he's the kind of player, the kind of draft pick who you think could be a stalwart on this team for 10, 15
Sure.
years, is getting all this time working with Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and learning about how the Steelers do things and picking up all the tips about their personality and the way they play, in addition to just, pointers that are schematic things. I think it's that's one of the reasons why that continuity is one of the reasons why the Steelers defense is always good, because you
Yeah.
have TJ played with Harrison, Cam played with Kiesel and Smith, and those guys. Harrison came in when Joey Porter Sr. was in the league, and he played with Greg Lloyd. It just there's never been an interruption in the continuity of the passing of knowledge from one generation to the next on that defense, not since 1970s. And I think there's a real tangible benefit to that process playing out here at training camp.
Yeah, it's nice when that torch passing can happen with overlap taking place and like actually getting to play with that group of guys before you potentially take over and have to be in that position, as opposed to not spending any time with them, obviously. And
I think it's one of the underrated parts about why the Steelers offense fell apart after Ben, Bell, AB, Pouncey DeCastro, Villanueva, Foster, that the next group of guys, outside of maybe like 1 year of Pat with Ben, did not get to play with there was like a full clean break on that offense that it completely turned over. That they didn't have that sort of gradual passing of the torch like the Steelers defense always has had.
Good point. I honestly, again, not something that I've considered much. Obviously, you think about the lack of talent that's been on that side of the ball, but that's absolutely part of the equation there as well. So it's nice to see, on the defensive side, the early draft pick getting acclimated. On the other side of things, their second draft pick, not in the second round, but their second draft pick, Kaleb Johnson, maybe the name that I saw the most being put out there in terms of the oohs and ahs that came from people accompanying clips. What did you make of his day? Was he pretty impressive out there, or what'd you think?
He might have been the most impressive offensive player for the Steelers. Yeah, I think so. He was electric. I mean, some of the stuff is like he's just really fast, and
sure,
he's going to run them all out to the end zone because he's a rookie, and Jaylen Warren's just going to get touched and go down on a tag day, a thud day, but he's very, very good at this. Like, and it's. I think the thing is that he just has such a high floor because you can put him out there on day one and he's going to be productive. I don't know if he's going to develop the passing game chops of some of the other elite backs in the NFL, or even of a guy like Warren or Kenny Gainwell, where he's clearly the third best at those things on this team right now. But just in terms of go call outside zone, like he's already got that life down. Like you see Iowa runs an NFL offense. It's not like he's learning anything new that he hasn't done before. He's just going out there and running, and man, he looks good. He looks really good.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I felt like he was going. I think he's going to be good in general, but like especially in this setting, I thought that it would be something that he would thrive in. And definitely, like as we get to the preseason, one of the players that I'm most excited to watch from there. But just in terms of like alignment personnel, was curious to like what even reps he would be getting. Obviously, Jaylen Warren was the lead back, but like what did they open up in? We were curious about who that outside receiver was going to be in like 11 personnel. Like what can you answer some of those questions?
Yeah, so I guess first we'll talk about the injuries on offense. So Jonnu Smith,
Yeah,
Cordell
sure.
Patterson, both day to day. Didn't do any team period today.
Can I just say I don't want to make a joke about somebody being injured, but I felt like the need to say this. I feel like Cordell Patterson's Steelers tenure at this point is day to day, not just the injury.
I got to be like 100% transparency. I'm really good at, I call it taking attendance. Like you come out to
Yeah.
practice, I'm like, he's there, he's here, he's here, he's here, he's here. Because so much of my job is just noticing things, right? You just notice, right?
Mhm.
Oh, well, I did not notice that Cordell Patterson wasn't practicing today until somebody pointed out in the press conference. I did notice that Jonnu Smith wasn't. Obviously, he's a big part of what we're trying to do on day one of training camp. But
Sure.
without Smith, they opened in 12 personnel with Darnell
Mhm.
Washington, Pat Fryermuth, Calvin Austin, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Spencer Anderson at left guard in place of Isaac Seumalo. And then when they went to 11, it was Roman Wilson on the outside, Calvin moving to the slot. I think that makes a lot of sense. We saw some of that in the spring. Not really any surprises to me there. And then they rotate those positional. The eligibles rotate, like the offensive line has a first team and a second team and a third team, and the quarterbacks obviously have a defined pecking order. But like it's really hard to like. Scotty Miller was out there with DK Metcalf at times, and Pat Fryermuth was out there next to Rock Taylor. Like they all just get mixed up, and so I don't really put a lot of stock into like who's playing with who at those positions really after the initial starters.
Okay. Yeah, something else I wanted to bring up. I don't want to, because I do want to come back to the offensive side of things and talk about things there because we spent a lot of time talking about the defense so far. But one more thing that we had on the notes here that I wanted to bring up before we dove too far into that was Sebastian Castro playing free safety and actually getting some second team reps, just because like Juan Thornhill was running with ones and twos. I saw a friend of the program, Nick Faribaugh, put out at one point. So it's just like, I mean, I still feel like there needs to be a body in some form added. Not saying it has to be a Justin Simmons or anything like that, but somebody that can play that position. Again, just one day, but what did it look like to you out there? Do you feel like there's a confidence level in what's currently there? Or even though they're getting a look at what's there, do you ultimately feel like they know they need to add somebody?
I think it'll just depend on how Ramsey looks at safety. And I'll be honest, like it didn't look perfectly natural in like on air work that I watched him do today. He didn't get that many reps in team period there because they didn't play that much base. But if Ramsey looks like he can go be a really good safety, then I don't think they need another one. Because then if you need to go a different route in the slot because you're playing Ramsey at safety, you got Beanie, you got Eccles, there's depth there, right? So I think if Ramsey looks like he can really do it, there's not a need for another defensive back. If Ramsey struggles with playing safety, then you probably need another body. Yeah. Although maybe it could be Sebastian Castro. I mean, he only played strong safety in the spring, so we'll see how he takes the free safety. They're trying that out as well. And I'll say Quindell Johnson, I thought looked really good today. He had an interception on a tip pass, playing with the threes. He can probably, I mean, he has NFL games played. It's not like he's just some total like loser nothing scrub at the bottom of the roster. I wouldn't like just totally write him out as a guy that, like, if you're talking about Sebastian Castro, you may as well be talking about the guy who's actually played in the NFL too. So
Sure.
I wouldn't like say he's a non-entity there either.
Now that you're saying it, I mean, part of me is kind of surprised it wasn't Quindell Johnson ahead of Sebastian Castro in that spot because I completely forgot about that. But
I agree. I actually was a little surprised that it was Castro before Johnson, but I think Johnson probably had the better place today.
In terms of another thing that I'm looking forward to when I am able to get my eyes on it in person and just in general, following along with it day to day, is going to be who gets that DK Metcalf matchup amongst the cornerbacks. It was Joey Porter Jr. getting the first crack at it. But you mentioned to me, I don't know if everybody found it funny. I actually found a little bit of amusement when you were telling me like Mike Tomlin's response in terms of these guys are like chomping at the bit to all get a crack at that.
Yeah, so I talked to Joey back in the spring, and he's been thinking about it since then. And remember he had that rough game against Metcalf his rookie year. He's got some. He's still got some burn marks from that one. Still wearing the scars, I think. And so he was really looking forward to it. I thought he was really good today. He might have been the best defensive player out there. He didn't give up a completion to Metcalf all day. DK did have one, but it was against a zone coverage. He was in between linebackers over the middle. And come back to that point too. I want to talk about the offense over the middle as well. But like I thought Porter was really good against him. But yeah, I asked Mike Tomlin, were you pushing for that matchup? And he goes, Joey was pushing for that matchup, and all the other corners are too. There's like a line. It's a full date card for DK Metcalf. He's very well pursued by the Steelers secondary here. Everybody wants that matchup. I can't wait to see him and Ramsey go at it too. They've had some real physical battles in live NFL games over the years. DK said, "I am so glad I do not have to play against that guy."
I mean, there's even like him and Slay. There's a clip of him and Slay going at it as well. So, yeah.
Well, and we all know Slay is not afraid of going up against the bigger guys.
Sure. Absolutely. So, definitely looking forward to that. Oh, by the way, did you see them have an interaction at all? Washington,
no,
that is.
I didn't catch one yet, but I'll get on Darnell about that tomorrow and see how that's gone.
Speaking of Darnell, Aaron Rodgers talked him up quite a bit. If we are going to see more of him, maybe it would be over the middle of the field. You mentioned you wanted to come back to that point, the middle of the field offense. What do we see from that?
Some wind issues here. I have to change direction. Darnell had maybe the biggest play of the day, a little corner route, probably about 25 yards. Scotty Miller had a big one also in terms of receiving. His was over the middle. If you recall the quote about this offense last year, it was layups, 3-pointers, right? That's all they did was throw deep and then little. I don't think I saw any of either of those today. There was one attempted deep ball from Rodgers to DK Metcalf that was well off. It looked like Rodgers was hoping that Metcalf would break it off and run a back shoulder, and it just goes to the sideline out of bounds. I don't think they threw as a team threw a single deep pass today. Everything was intermediate, over the middle of the field, in the flats, but especially in that 10 to 15-yard range is where everything was going. And now I don't think they were super efficient, especially Rodgers. I'm not like quoting training camp stats here, but I wouldn't say his completion percentage was particularly good. I don't think those things matter. I think the intent is where you gain the knowledge, and the intent is, hey, we're going to throw the ball over the middle of the field this year. We're going to have an intermediate passing game. It's not just going to be 3-pointers and layups.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested, and I certainly hope that that's the case. I do like what you said there in terms of the intent over the results, especially first day. But the one thing that I will say in terms of that deep ball wasn't the only misconnection between Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. So a lot of people noting that it just looked like they weren't necessarily on the same page today. Do you think that you would attribute it more to that than anything else, them just not being on the same page, or was just for whatever reason Aaron not very good today?
Well, I thought Joey was good. I'm going to attribute a good bit of it to that. Okay. There was one where, DK ran a good route. Aaron threw it, and Joey it could have been a hold. Every Joey Porter Jr. play could theoretically be a flag, right? But no refs here today, and it wasn't. I wouldn't have called it. I thought it was clean. They got kind of tangled up in DK's break, but I think so. I attribute a good bit of it to that, but also just they're new. And Rodgers is going to, he's going to try things that don't. Ben Roethlisberger used to do this in practice all the time, where like he would intentionally throw bad passes to guys just to see what their hands are like. He would intentionally throw into double coverage just because he knew the defense wouldn't think he was going to do it. There are guys out there that are trying to show the world they can be a perfect NFL player. And they're, in many cases, trying to convince themselves they can be perfect. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be that guy. DK Metcalf's not going to be that guy. No, neither of those guys is up there in their dorm room. And they're suite mates, by the way, staying in the connected rooms, sharing a bathroom. They're not up there right now crying about going 1 for 4, targeting one another or something like that today. I'm sure they're much more focused on just understanding and being on the same page and communicating. And Metcalf said he was playing video games when Rodgers walked into his room, and he's like, "Oh, you're gaming?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm playing NCAA." And then he thought he was going to pick up a controller. He sounded enthusiastic about it, and then he looked back and he was gone. Guess not. Guess not.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Uh,
Yeah, I really feel like Aaron and DK, that's going to be a relationship that they're going to get on the same page. I don't really have a question about that. I think that's why it was so important for Aaron to sign when he did. Get those guys out to Malibu, form a relationship, and start building that then, as opposed to like this being literally the first time that they've thrown to each other and been around each other. So I look forward to that relationship building. Also, is there, I'm bad at remembering going back a year plus. Is there typically not 7 shots on the first day?
this is the second year in a row they have not had 7 shots on the first day.
Okay.
I don't know why, but second year in a row they haven't done that. So we'll see if they do it tomorrow or not.
I was just saying, would you anticipate it tomorrow? Because if you're not going to have backs on backers, that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most. And obviously no backs on backers right now. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
I would think maybe tomorrow, but we'll see.
Okay. Anything other notable that we did not touch on? We went through that list pretty well.
Oh, quarterback. I wanted to talk about the rotation at quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So Will Howard, quarterback 4, here on the first day. Pretty much what I expected. Didn't get a lot of reps. I did think he looked pretty good in those reps, and he did something I'm not sure I've ever seen a rookie quarterback do in practice. He drew the defense offside with a hard count in the middle of a team practice. Like 7 shots, sometimes guys will go to a hard count, but like in the middle of a team period, I can't really recall like somebody going to that. I thought it was interesting and unique. And then Ryan McCollum got, I don't know, dinged or was just hot or what. I don't know. He had to take a couple plays off. And they had some rough issues with executing the other. They had a false start. They had a fumbled snap that Julius Welshoff recovered. And it was things weren't going well at that point. And Cam Hayward just yells over, "End the period."
You're saying once McCollum won out, this was happening, or
yeah. I think
who was that playing?
I think it. I don't want to say the wrong name. I think it might have been Aiden Williams or Max Sharping, one of those guys moving over from guard. Whatever. It's not important. It was just funny how like a guy you don't consider to be like this linchpin of the team, Ryan McCollum, all of a sudden he's out and like a whole practice period falls apart and everyone's just standing there like, what the heck? But
well, hey, you know what we did? We gave Ryan McCollum some flowers going back to last year, him having to step in when Zach Frazier went down with an injury. I mean, he at least looks like a guy that's some quality interior depth. So yeah, not somebody that I think should just be like completely written off in terms of being a piece on that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like last year at this time, I'd have been like, there's no chance of Ryan McCollum making this team. And this year at this time, I'm like, oh, he's definitely on it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Did anything else from today stand out? I did want to have you on here just because it's one of our bigger platforms on the platform here on YouTube. Maybe introduce the new project that we got going on over there that debuted last night, a venture that you were on. Is that going to be like you're kind of introducing it to me as well. You kind of teased that we had something new coming or a couple new things coming, but talk about it a little bit, maybe introduce the people.
Yeah, welcomed Julianne Pelusi to the channel last night. Julianne is a Pittsburgh native. She's a North Allegheny grad and has worked in TV for a while. Now I'm going to forget, one of the, it was either Wheaton or Steubenville, one of the, Ohio Valley stations. And she was up in Buffalo where she covered the Bills for a little while for their TV station. She's back in Pittsburgh now and, connected through Dane Kingarski. And so she's going to be doing hosting some videos for us. It's really helpful to have someone who's not here. Like this arrangement, for us works really well because I just show up and everything's done for me. So to have some of our practice videos, things like that, taken care of, she's going to be a big. And then she's just getting started, but we are going to give her own lengthier show as well. That is going to be, I think, on Thursday nights. That are going to come after afternoon drive. So there's not a name yet, and we're still very much developing a plan, part of the process. But great to have Julie on board. And Brendan is going to be flying solo at the practice report today, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay. All right. Well, look forward to that. Hopefully, I got him prepared with a couple afternoon drives last week when you were on vacation. If he fails, I guess he could put some of the blame on my shoulders if that practice report does not go well. But I have full faith that Brennan will do just fine with it. Anything else, Alan? As we go through the notes.
No, I got nothing here.
Nothing from anybody that like you talked to after practice or anything either?
No,
Obviously,
I was just
guys,
Tomlin, DK, Aaron. That was all I talked to. So.
Okay.
Brendan talked to Pat Fryermuth and Beanie Bishop. So we'll have some of that coming up on the practice report.
There we go. Look forward to that. All right. Well, in that case, Alan, until tomorrow, hopefully after we get a round of 7 shots and we get to talk, tell the people where they can find you.
Sharkies, drinking an icy light mango. And about
wait, hold on. Did you get one yesterday?
In about an hour. No, I did not have one yesterday. Okay. I was waiting. I was saving. We weren't at Sharky's last night, so I was saving that first mango for move-in day doesn't count. Like today's the first real practice. I wasn't out in this for 5 hours yesterday. So this is the first real day. And boy, I mean, Mike Tomlin wanted the afternoon heat. He got it. It was steamy out here. I don't know what the actual temperature was, but it was very humid. Sun was beating down. It was miserable out here for the guys, and that's exactly what he wanted. So yeah, Sharkies tonight, and find some mangoes in their natural habitat. And then of course you can find me on social media at @Saunders_PGH, X Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now sites account SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words so I can get paid. Sign up for SN Plus because it's the thing all the cool kids are doing. And if you're coming out to camp, give me a shout out, especially if you get me before practice starts. That's definitely the best time for me to come chat. But otherwise, I can at least take my eyes off the field for a couple seconds, usually to come say hi. And subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the YouTube channel so you don't miss practice reports, Julie's new stuff. Sights and Sounds is one video up from today, so all that Ramsey stuff I'm talking about with Slay is up there. And Brendan had some good stuff from Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, that crew as well. So, all the content is flowing. All the things are happening, Smitty. We go from 0 to 100 in this industry, and that's just the way I like it.
Yeah, we're at 100 right now, 16,000. And you know what? I want to give a shout out to this guy, wishing him all the best on another road to recovery for Artie Burns, 25 subscribers right now.
Yeah,
that sucks. Obviously the Steelers tenure, he got overdrafted, didn't go the way that he would have liked or they would have liked, but to carve out as long of a career in the NFL as he has, obviously a testament to him and his ability to stay on rosters and do the little things well. So shout out to Artie, hoping for a comeback here. And what a cool story it would be if he's able to come back from this one and be on a roster again next season. But shout out to Artie.
I know I've used Freddie McAfee before on 25. That's been my go-to. He was a running back and a special teamer in the 90s. Obviously, Ryan Clark.
You talked about a name that's always in the news, seemingly. Yeah.
Mike Mitchell, also 25, right? No, he was 23. 23.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have another one there. That one's tripping me up here. I don't know.
There's got to be other defensive back. Desmond King would have just wore it.
Oh, recently. There you go for his one game. Yeah. I feel like there's got to be another guy, although because RC had it. No,
Bryce Kane.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking. Was he 25 or 35? I think he was 25.
25 at least for 2014. Yeah.
There you go. I was thinking about him, and I wasn't confident he was 25. I should have just said it.
Akello Witherspoon.
Oh yeah,
25. There was one more here that I read. Oh, Eric Rowe.
Oh yeah, there you go.
In 2023 we were 25. Yeah. All right. Anyways, as Alan said, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Hit us in the comments here with your thoughts, anything we talked about today. Question for a future episode. These are I know that this is the type of stuff that you guys want. You want to know what's going on, boots on the ground there. It does make it a little bit more difficult to get the questions, but we're still going to definitely work them in when we're able to.
I need them for morning rushes too. So just keep the questions coming.
Absolutely. Keep the questions coming. Do not feel disheartened if we don't get to it on an afternoon drive. We will definitely get to it at some point in some form or fashion. If you're listening somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast's from, leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe over there. Absolutely feel free to drop a question or a comment within that review. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive. Do the same thing on TikTok, and then you'll find me everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH. For Alan Saunders and myself, thanks for jumping in and taking another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.